Today I'm going to dehydrate some chicken. Now I'm doing this for Martin's camping trips in Canada when he goes on his long canoe trips. I have no idea how preppers do it, and by prepper I mean someone who's saving supplies for survival. I'm just doing this for a camping trip, and I'm going to show you how I do it. After this is dehydrated, I'm going to seal it, and then I'm going to put it into the freezer. And it will last for a couple weeks outside of the freezer, dehydrated and sealed. I know at least a month. I have no idea how you would do this if you were doing a long-term storage. So I'm just going to show you how I do it. I'm saying all that because I think you need to look up and research on your own if you want to dehydrate meat as to how you should do it and the different ways you can store it. This is how I do it for Martin's canoe trips. First things first, I have out my good dehydrator. By good, I mean it goes hotter, and it will go up to 160 degrees, and that's what I will use for meat. Then I put my chicken breasts into water, and I'm going to cook them. I'm going to bring it to a boil and let it simmer until they're done. That'll probably be about 20 minutes, maybe 25. The main thing is I use a very lean meat. I would never use anything but chicken breast to dehydrate. So I'm going to start that. We'll get there, and then we'll take it out and shred it. Okay, we've come to a boil. I'm going to turn it down a little bit and let it simmer, and I'll let that go for, say, 20 minutes, then I'll check it with my meat thermometer. My chicken is done. It took 20 minutes. I used my meat thermometer and tested it, and I shredded. See, it's all shredded nicely. There's another thing that I do when I dehydrate chicken or any meat is I put the meat in a colander and I pour really hot water off of it to remove any fat that might be there. See, an enemy of food is air, and another enemy is fat. It will cause it to go rancid. When I dehydrate, that's why I use the leanest meats. So this has had the hot water poured over it. It's all set to go into the dehydrator. I'm going to finish up with the other ones and we'll get it loaded. So as I'm loading the tray, I have poured water over this. So I take it, it's cooled off a bit. So I always like wring it out before I put it on because I've just run water over it. You get the moisture off so it doesn't take so long. And as I put it on the tray, I'm kind of breaking it up even more. Here we go. I've got 3 trays with 2 chicken breasts. As I put it on, like I said, I keep kind of working it apart. And this is all set to go. I'm going to put the lid on, plug it in. Whoop, we got somebody sticking out. And I have it set on 160. I don't know, I can't remember how long this takes. It's been a year since I've done this. So we'll see, maybe 5 hours. We'll find out. This has been about an hour and a half, and I think you can see that some of this, let me pick some of this out for you, is changing color. It's a little bit lighter tan, and if you look at it, it's very rubbery. This is almost brittle. And you're going to want this brittle when you get done. So it's not all done. See, this is bigger chunk, but some of this is, see how that's just breaking. That would be done, but that's okay. I'll leave that there. So we're getting close. My chicken breasts are done. It took, I didn't really technically look, 3 hours, maybe 3.5. And this is what they look like. It's kind of funny because if I were to put that, if any of this is in the sink, it will puff right up if it gets water on it and look like a piece of chicken, like a chunk of chicken. So this is all dry and brittle. I have a few pieces that are not. There's still a little give to them. I'm not going to bother waiting for them. I'm going to just pitch them. There's just a couple. Maybe there's a little bit more fat in them. See, it's kind of pliable. I'm going to show you, though, how I vacuum seal these. You have to be really careful when the edges are sharp. My friend Joan, who showed me a vacuum sealer several years ago, she also gave me this tape. I'm going to take a paper towel, put it inside the bag, and it will line the bag so that the chicken does not get punctured. Let me see if I can get this in here. There we go. So now I'm going to drop the chicken in between that layer. Let me do that. There we go. The chicken's in here. See that in there? And if it should puncture the bag, it's going in the freezer, so it'll be fine. But when Martin takes it out to use for his canoe trip, if the bag is punctured a little and the vacuum seal is no longer there, I'll just vacuum seal it again for his trip. But since I'm storing it in a freezer, we're good to go. So let me get this sealed up. Here we go, 2 large chicken breasts, all sealed in. If these give me trouble, I will reseal it before Martin goes on his trip. I'm going to pop that in the freezer. Now remember, this is how I do chicken for Martin's canoe trip. I have no idea how you would do meat and store it on the shelf. Don't try doing that with what I've done because you'd have to look that up. Anyway, this is good to go. I'll put it in my freezer and it'll keep a long, long time. Like I always say, long, long time. Lisa asked me if I ever dehydrate onions, and I don't, Lisa. I buy them like this. This is from Sam's Club. I don't know if you can see that. It's chopped onions, and it's like they're shredded, and they last a long time. And frankly, I never use them. I always chop my own fresh, but if I needed to, that's why I keep them on hand. I have a friend who never chops an onion. She uses these all the time. They really smell good when you open the container, and it is huge. I got that at Sam's. So you can buy these to varying degrees. If you want to dehydrate your own onions, let me know how that turns out. I'm just afraid too that the mats, my trays, will just end up smelling like onions forever. This is our first freezer. It's old, it's seen a lot of decades, it's almost 50 years old, probably 49 right now, and it has served us really well. But since I've started doing more dehydrating and freezing of vegetables and things, Martin got me another one. This one still works great. It's been a real workhorse. Oh, and doesn't everybody have a collapsible canoe above their freezer? Even when they look like this. Don't you love the duct tape handle that Martin put on it to replace the old one? Another thing you can do, I don't really like using baggies that much. I have a lot of glass containers, but turn them inside out and wash them and let them dry. Now that sounds like really being a miser, but you know, if you can't get a hold of baggies these days, go ahead and do that. They dry and you can use them over and over. You see that asparagus coming up? Won't be long now. And boy, do I have bluebells. I'll show you when they're in bloom. And look, our pond is coming to life. Those 3 fellas there, I call the boys in the band. When it's winter time, they can be covered with snow. Doesn't time fly when you're... Wait, what day is it? You know, that would be really funny, but that's already happened here a couple of times. And I love the announcement a police department put out east. Put your pants on when you get the mail. You know who you are. This is your last warning. Well, I know we can get a little bit lax in wearing our button-up pants, but seriously? Spring is garage sale season, and I only go to the community-wide or the entire subdivision sales. Well, that season has been called off, or at least on hold now. In fact, I have a big tote full of items for our church rummage sale. That'll have to wait. I only got into dehydrating to preserve food for Mart's long canoe trips, and it's been fun, and I enjoy showing you what I do. I did put a link in my written description. Taste of Home has a nice page regarding 20 foods you should have on hand and how to store them and how long they keep. Looks like there'll be some loosening up of sheltering in place. It's kind of scary, but I'm just going to take it slow and do only what I'm comfortable with. I'm too old for peer pressure. So, if anything, wear your mask, and it keeps me from touching my face. So join me next time when I'm going to dehydrate some herbs. See you then. Bye-bye.